Welcome back to another class on Gemara Journey with Rashi. We are continuing in Masecht Berachot Daf Dalad amud Aleph. This will be part 3 of the Shi'ur, 9 lines from the top of the page, beginning with the words Rabbi Zera Amar. We want to try to finish up the question that we began in Daf Gimel Amud Bet. When the Gemara said, "V'David mi hava yada paga de lela emat," Hashta Moshe Rabenu lo hava yada. Did David HaMelech know when Chatzot is, when Moshe Rabenu didn't know when Chatzot is? So today we're going to see two opinions from Rabbi Zera and Rabbi Ashi. They're going to show us how, in reality, Moshe Rabenu did know when midnight is. Rabbi Zera Amar, Rabbi Zera said, Moshe lo oilam havayada. Moshe Rabenu really knew when midnight is. David nami havayada, and David HaMelech also knew when midnight is. The Gemara asks the obvious question: V'kevin did David havayada, and since David HaMelech knew when midnight is, kinor lema le. So why did he need the harp to be hanging over his bed? The Gemara answers: Le'itaure mishinate, to awaken him from his sleep. The Gemara now moves on to question Moshe Rabenu. V'kevin de Moshe havayada lema le lememar kechatzot. And since the Moshe Rabenu knew when midnight is, why did he have to say about midnight Hashem is going to come and he's going to kill out all the firstborn Egyptians? The Gemara answers, Moshe kasavar shem yitu is tanegine paro. Moshe thought maybe the astrologers of Paro are going to make a mistake. V'yimaru Moshe bada'ayhu, and they're going to say Moshe is a liar. If you look into Rashi, Dibra Matchil Shema It'u, maybe the astrologers of Paro are going to make a mistake. Rashi says, what was Moshe Rabenu thinking when he said kachatzot, or why he didn't say bachatzot? Im ani yodeya lechaven hasha'a. Moshe Rabenu is saying that if I know how to align the time of midnight, hem enam yudiim lechaven hasha'a, but they don't know how to align the midnight. V'kodem sheyagiya chatzot, and before midnight is gonna come, yehu sevurim sheyagiya, they're gonna think that midnight actually came. Va'adan lo ba'a hamaka, and still the killing of the firstborn of the Egyptians did not come yet. V'yimru Moshe bad'ayhu, and they're going to say Moshe is a liar. So it comes out of here, Moshe Rabenu did know when Chatzot is going to be. But what was the problem? Moshe Rabenu was afraid maybe the astrologers of Paro, they're not going to be able to align the time with Chatzot, because we have seasonal minutes, they have regular minutes. So our Chatzot, let's say, is an hour later. Their Chatzot is an hour earlier. What's going to end up happening? They're going to make the calculation. They're going to say, wait, midnight? Why didn't all the firstborn of Egyptians, they didn't die yet? That means Moshe's a liar. Comes Moshe Rabbeinu and he says, in order for them not to call me a liar, Moshe Rabbeinu said, it is better off I say kechatzot, to be on the safe side. About midnight, Hashem is going to come and kill all the firstborn Egyptians. Then to say bachatzot, and they're going to make the mistake. Rabotai, listen carefully. Not Moshe Rabbeinu is going to make the mistake. They're going to make the mistake and they're going to call him a liar. For that not to happen, Moshe Rabbeinu went ahead and he said, kachatzot. But in reality, Moshe Rabbeinu knew that it was going to happen, bachatzot. And he could have said bachatzot, but he played it safe and he said kachatzot in order not to be called a liar. Comes a Rashi and he learns a very powerful lesson from Moshe Rabbeinu. Hilkach, which the Gemara is going to also say it. Hilkach, therefore, tov lechoz loshon any yudei. It is good to hold on, to grab on to the language. I don't know. Rabotai, Hilkach, therefore, tov lechoz loshon any yudei. It is good to hold on to the expression of I don't know. Rabotai, Moshe Rabbeinu said kachatzot. He changed the wording of Hashem to say kachatzot because they were going to call him a liar. Comes Rashi and he tells you it's good to hold on to the expression of saying, I don't know, not to be called a liar. Rabotai, not that you're going to make the mistake. Over here we're understanding they were going to make the mistake, not Moshe. Still say, I don't know, lest people are going to go and call you a liar. Now let's see that in the Gemara, Rabotai. Where we conclude where it says, V'yamru Moshe Badai, the astrologer are going to say Moshe is a liar because the firstborns of the Egyptians still didn't die. That's why Moshe Rabenu went ahead and he said, Kachatot, about midnight, to play it safe. And he didn't say Bachatot. Comes the Gemara says, the Amar, the master said, Rashi says, Masecht Berachot Daf. In Masecht Berachot Daf, this is what the master brings down. Lamed loshoncha lomar eini yodea. Teach your tongue to say, I don't know. Rabotai, do you have any idea what that means? Teach your tongue to say, I don't know. Why is that? Shema titbadeh. Maybe you're going to be proven false. Maybe you're going to give misinformation, even though you thought it was correct. But maybe now the people are going to look over it, and maybe you really misunderstood it. Shema titbadeh. Maybe your words are going to be proven falsely. V'ta'achez, and now you got caught in those words that were proven falsely. Rashi says, V'ta'achez, tehen nechaz, and now you were caught in the misinformation. V'nichshal b'dvarech, and you have stumbled over your words. That means to say, you're going to start losing credibility with people. People are not going to start believing you. Comes the master in Masecht Berachot Daf, and he says, teach your tongue to say, I don't know. Do you know what that means, to teach your tongue to say, I don't know? I'm going to give you an example. When you have to teach a student 1 plus 1 is 2 until he gets it, 1 plus 1 is 2, you have to keep on teaching him. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1, 2, correct? And so on and so forth, right? Toothpicks and apples, whatever you want to do 1 plus 1 with. Do you know what that means, to teach your tongue? You have to sit with yourself and you have to say like this, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Teach yourself to say, I don't know. Now, we have to understand a very important concept. This teaching, that's Bodam Masecht Berachot Daf, is it speaking about where you don't know, so you're saying, I don't know? Or when you do know, and you're saying, I don't know? If you don't know, it's obvious you have to say, I don't know. That you don't have to teach. You have to be emet. You have to be honest with yourself. I don't know. Over here is teaching a greater novelty. Where you do know, still you should say, I don't know. That's what he's trying to tell you. Teach yourself, I don't know. Even where you do know. Less what's going to end up happening. You might have seen something one way. You might have seen the news one way. You might have heard something like this. You might have thought something like this. But when you reevaluate the case, maybe it's not like what you thought, and it's not like what you said. Now you have stumbled in your words. If you have stumbled in your words, you're going to start losing credibility with people. Therefore, comes the Gemara and tells you, we learn from Moshe Rabenu not to be called a liar, not to lose credibility with people. Hold on. It's good to hold on to the expression of, I don't know. You know, when you look at all the Gedolim, look at all the Tanaim, Amoraim, Rishonim, Achronim, all the great sages of the past, in our generation, in anything, Rabotai. Look when they paskin halachot. They bring halachot on one, they bring Gemara, Meforshim, Rishon, they bring on one end, they bring why the answer should be no. On another end, they bring why the answer should be yes. And in the end, they say, V'tzaruch iyun. It needs to be looked into further. What you mean? What do you mean? You could make the decision. That is Rabotai, Anava. Now, listen to this, Rabotai. Many times I've seen it in the Gemara. Not one Amor, not one or two, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Amoraim, where they would ask the same question. It's the Gemara says, Lo have a bidet, lo have a bidet, lo have a bidet. Meaning to say it wasn't in his hands. He didn't have the answer. He didn't know. Rabotai, but over there, if they didn't know, they really said, I don't know. It's okay to say, I don't know. People feel by saying, I don't know, that's a chisoron on their part. It's a lack in them. By saying, I don't know. It is not a lack. It's a virtue to say, I don't know. Great people say, I don't know. And I'm not telling you right now, where you don't know, you should say, I don't know. That's simple to understand. We're speaking about even when you know, you should say, I don't know. And I want to make something clear, Rabotai. The Chachamim bring down on this piece that it is very important to understand what are we speaking about over here. We're not speaking about over here where you learn Torah, you see Torah, you know Torah, you learn Torah, and then you're going to say, I don't know. No. That's not what we're speaking about at all. What we're speaking about over here right now is worldly matters, sports, news, business, there. Even if you know, and it's not something that's pressing, or just to speak it out, it's not like a real business that's going to go through, teach yourself, I don't know. Save yourself that headache. Because if now you said X, and really it was Y, you just have lost credibility with people. You want to be able to be reliable. When you say something, people believe you. People take your word for it. Lamed leshoncha lomar eini yodea. Teach your tongue to say, I don't know. You have to understand, even in the Mishnah Berurah, even in the Shulchan Aruch, even in the Achronim, if you pay close attention into their footnotes, when they leave it off as a Tarach Iyun, it needs to be looked into furthermore. Over there, Be'emet, they don't know. Because when it comes to Torah and you know, you have to say it. But I want to show you the attribute of saying, I don't know. It is not something that is lacking in you by saying, I don't know, I don't understand. It's on the contrary, Rabotai, it's a virtue. It shows what kind of characteristics you have in you. To be able, you have to be a man to say, I don't know. You ever see whenever you drive, say, Baruch Hashem, we have Waze or Google Maps, right? But back then, you ever see whenever you drive, the wife says, listen, let's ask him what's the direction. No, I know. Over there you don't know, so say I don't know. No, I know. Just to show you know. And it'd be 3 hours, 4 hours, they're circling one block. Just say I don't know. Ask somebody. Put your guard down. Ask somebody, and you'll get to the place faster. But it's all about ego, Rabotai. So that's why it's very important we learn from Moshe Rabenu. Because he was afraid they were going to call him a liar, he said kachatzot, but really he knew exactly when midnight is. And we learn that from this case. Rashi says, Hilkach tov le'echoz loshen eni yodea. Therefore, it is good to hold on to the expression of I don't know, not to be called a liar. And again, in worldly matters only. If in Torah you don't know, don't even open your mouth. If you really know, you saw it, you reviewed it, it's clear by you, it's sharp by you. Like the halachot, like your sister is not allowed to marry you, then you can go ahead and answer. Otherwise, Rabotai, don't answer. That's the Gemara brings down Masecht Kiddushin Daf Lamed amud Aleph all the way on the bottom. And then you turn a little bit on the top of Daf Lamed amud Bet on the top. The Gemara says over there that the words of the Torah, they have to be sharp in your mouth. That when somebody asks you a halacha, you shouldn't stutter, and then say. You have to say it immediately. Just like if somebody would ask you a question, is your sister allowed on you? Can you marry your sister? What's the first response? No. Wait, you didn't even think about it. That's how Torah has to be called by us. When people ask, bam, yes, no, this, that, bam, reason. You have to know it cold. Okay, Rabotai, let's get back into here. So we see from Rabbi Zera, Moshe Rabenu did know when Chatzot was. Why did he say Kachatzot? Because of the astrologers of Paro that were gonna make the mistake and call him a liar. That's why he said Kachatzot, about midnight. From Moshe Rabenu will learn out, and like the Gemara brings down Masecht Berachot, Masecht Derech Eretz, teach your tongue to say I don't know, lest you be called a liar and you're going to lose credibility in the eyes of other people. Okay. Next piece is Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi said, Bepalga urta ditilesar. Moshe Rabenu was really standing on the 13th of midnight, on the 13th of Nisan of midnight. Nagehe arba'a asar havikaye. So he says, Bepalga urta ditilesar, it was the 13th of midnight, Nagehe, which was basically leading into the 14th of Nisan, havikaye, he was standing then. I want to just make this a little bit clear. What we're going to see now in Rashi is going to explain to us that at the time when Moshe Rabenu was speaking to Paro, while he was standing and speaking to Paro, it was actually at the 13th of midnight. So when Moshe Rabenu is going to go and say, Kachatzot alayla, he wasn't telling Paro about midnight. No, he was telling Paro he was telling Paro tomorrow, like the midnight of today, of now, similar to what we saw in Daf Gimel Amud Bet in the Hagot V'Tzionim regarding answering Tosfot's question. So let's go back into the Gemara one more time before I do the Rashi. Rav Ashi said, "Bepalga urta de telesar." It was the 13th. It was the 13th of Nisan at midnight. Nagehei arba asar, which was going into the 14th of Nisan. Havikai, he was standing. He was standing basically between the 13th evening and the 14th day. He was standing in the middle at midnight. We'll see that in Rashi right now. Rashi says, Tel asar nagehe arba asar, right? The 13th going into the 14th. Lail shavar shalosha asar, it was the night where the 13th of the night has passed. Because remember, our day starts at night. So the 13th of Nisan, the night of Nisan, had passed. So now Moshe Rabenu is at midnight. So that's what he's telling you here. Lail shavar shalosh asar, it was the night where the 13th of Nisan has passed. V'lemecharad yagia arba'a asar, and the following day is going to come the 14th of Nisan. That means to say that where was Moshe Rabenu standing? He was in between the 13th of the night and the beginning of the 14th of Nisan, which is when, Rabotai, which is at Chatzot. Once the half of the night passed and the following day where the 14th begins, when is that? Moshe Rabenu was standing smack in the middle of Chatzot on the 13th. So one more time. Telesar nahage arba asar. It was the 13th of Nisan going to the 14th of Nisan. Lail shavar shalosha asar. It was the 13th of Nisan, the night of the 13th of Nisan, which has passed. V'lamacharab, but the following day, yagi arba asar, it's going to come the 14th of Nisan. That means to say, when was Moshe Rabenu speaking to Paro? It was in between, after the 13th of the night, and before the following day of the 14th of Nisan, which is Chatzot. So that's why, if you look back into the Gemara, look what the Gemara says. Rav Ashi Amar bepalga urta de telasar nahagi arba sahavikai. Moshe Rabenu was standing he was at the midnight of the 13th of Nisan, leading into the 14th of Nisan. He was standing, meaning at midnight he was standing. V'hachi ka'amar Moshe Yisrael. And this is what Moshe Rabenu said to the Jewish people. If you see that there's an odd bet, Hagot V'Tzionim, we have to change that. If you look into odd bet on the bottom, in the Hagot V'Tzionim, it says, B'Yalkut Shimoni, in the Yalkut Shimoni, Parshat Bo, Leita Tevet Li Yisrael. You don't have over there the word Yisrael. V'Girsa Yesherahi. And this is the correct version. The Parsha Zun Ne'emra El Paro Bebito. This Parsha was spoken to Paro and in his house. So what we're going to do, we're going to, instead of keeping over there Israel, we're going to exchange it with the word Paro. So like this, let's say it like this. V'hachi ka'amar Moshe le Paro. And this is how Moshe Rabenu said to Paro. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, limachar, the following day. Again, Moshe Rabenu is standing at Chatzot midnight, where the first half of the night has passed, and the beginning of the 14th of the following day is going to begin. He's at midnight. So what is he telling Paro now? Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, limachar, the following day, kechatzot halayla. Don't learn kechatzot halayla meaning about midnight. No. Learn like the chatzot of the night of now. Don't learn the word kechatzot meaning about midnight, but rather learn like the midnight of now. Watch this. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu limachar. Hashem said limachar, the following day. Kechatzot halayla. How do you want to translate the word kechatzot halayla? Ki ha'idna, just like now. And Moshe Rabenu was speaking to Paro at Chatzot at the 13th of Nisan. So he's telling him, tomorrow the following day, on the 14th of Nisan, like the night of now, like the Chatzot, the midnight of now, Ani yotzeh betoch Mitzrayim. Hashem says, I'm going to go forth amongst the Egyptians and I'm going to kill out the first Egyptian born. So we see from over here clearly, according to Rav Ashi, Moshe Rabenu did know when Bechatzot was. But what do you mean? He said Kachatzot. No. Moshe Rabenu was really saying like this. Kachatzot halayla, he was telling Paro, tomorrow, like the midnight of now that you and I are speaking about, meaning talking now, that's when Hashem is going to come tomorrow at the same point, which is Chatzot. He's going to come and he's going to kill all the first Egyptian born. Rabotai, with this, we Baruch Hashem do conclude this whole subject from where we began. Now the two periods, but another tomorrow is going to start a new piece. But Rabotai, let's just go back with one more time, run through the Gemara from Rabbi Zera Amar. Rabbi Zera said, Moshe lo'olam havayada. Moshe Rabenu really knew when Chatzot Laila, when Chatzot is. V'David Nami havayad, and David HaMelech also knew when Chatzot is. V'kevan did David havayada, and since David HaMelech knew when midnight is, Lama lei, Kevin did David havayada, since David HaMelech knew, Kinor Lama lei. So why did he need a harp? Li'iturei mishinatei, to awaken him from his sleep. V'kevan did Moshe havayada Lama lei le'meimer kechatzot. And since Moshe Rabenu knew when Chatzot is, why did he have to say Kachatzot? Moshe Kasavar Shem Yiteu Ista Ginine Paro. Moshe thought maybe the astrologers of Paro are going to make a mistake. V'yimru Moshe Badai, when they're going to say Moshe is a liar. The Amar and the master said, Lamed lo shencha lomar eini yodea. Teach your tongue to say I don't know. Shema titbadeh v'taches. Lest you'll be proven falsely and you'll get caught in that misinformation. That is the words of Rabbi Zera. Rav Ashi said, really, he says, Moshe Rabenu was standing at the midnight of the 13th of Nisan, going into the 14th of Nisan. That's when Moshe Rabenu was standing at midnight. To Paro. And this is what Moshe Rabbeinu said to Paro. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem said, Limachar, tomorrow, Kachatzot halayla. What does that mean, Kachatzot halayla? Ki ha'idna. Like the midnight of now that I'm speaking to you, Paro, Ani yotzeh betoch Mitzrayim. Hashem is going to come and he's going to go forth amongst the Egyptians and he's going to kill out all the firstborn Egyptians. Rabotai, with this, we do conclude the piece. So we learn from over here, from Daf Gimel, where we began the question, to Daf Daled. One, if you guys have the time, always these kind of questions, you should always make yourself like a small footnote on the side. Question answer, like your own basically chidushim. The question is, how could Moshe Rabbeinu know and David HaMelech didn't know? Answer: we saw Rav Ashi and Rabbi Zera, no, they both knew. And if you want, because maybe Shema, maybe they're going to call Moshe Rabbeinu a liar, that's why he said Kechatzot. And Rav Ashi said, no, really when he said Kechatzot, he meant not about midnight, but really he was saying like the midnight of tonight, of now, tomorrow, Hashem is going to come and He's going to destroy at the same time. Like now, tomorrow's going to come and He's going to destroy all the Egyptian firstborns. Rabotai, have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen ve'amen.